Most people over 60 believe walking every day is enough to stay strong. But after 60, that belief quietly weakens your body without you noticing. If you are in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, this matters to you more than you think. Because today, I'm going to show you one simple exercise that can help you stay independent, steady on your feet, and physically capable for years longer than most people your age. We'll go through 5 key ideas together. Why walking alone stops working after 60, what your body actually needs instead, and the one simple movement that quietly rebuilds strength. And stay with me, because the 4th point is the one most people completely miss, and it changes everything. Hi, I'm William Lee. For over 20 years, I've worked closely with older adults and their families, helping them stay strong, mobile, and independent as they age. And I've seen what truly works and what doesn't. Let me start with something simple. Walking is good. It helps your heart, your mood, and your circulation. But here's the part many people don't realize. Walking does very little to stop muscle loss after 60. And that loss happens faster than most people expect. After around age 60, your body naturally begins losing muscle each year. This is something health organizations like the National Institute on Aging talk about often. And if you don't challenge your muscles, they slowly weaken. Now let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever noticed this? You walk regularly, but your legs still feel weak. Standing up feels harder. Your balance doesn't feel as steady as it used to. That's not your imagination. That's because walking uses the same limited muscles over and over. It keeps you moving, but it doesn't rebuild strength. I remember a woman I spoke with in her early 70s. She walked every single morning, never missed a day. But she told me something that stayed with me. She said, "I can walk for 20 minutes, but I still need to push off the chair to stand up." That moment says everything, because daily life doesn't test how far you can walk. It tests how strong you are. Here's the takeaway I want you to remember. Walking keeps you active, but strength is what keeps you independent. And once you understand that, everything starts to change. Now here's where it gets more interesting. Because if walking isn't enough, what actually is? After 60, your body doesn't just need movement, it needs resistance. In simple terms, your muscles need a reason to stay strong. When you challenge your muscles, even gently, your body responds. It starts rebuilding strength, improving balance, supporting your joints. This isn't theory. This is something organizations like the CDC and Harvard Health continue to emphasize. Strength training becomes more important as you age, not less. But here's the key. When I say strength training, most people immediately think of gyms, heavy weights, machines, and they stop right there. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about simple, controlled movements, using your own body. Movements that match real life, standing up, sitting down, staying steady. That's where the real change happens. Let me share something I've seen again and again. I once worked with a man in his late 60s. He avoided anything that looked like exercise. But one day, he told me something very honest. He said, "I don't care about workouts. I just don't want to fall." That's the real goal for most people. Not fitness, not appearance, freedom. And here's the truth. The strongest predictor of whether you stay independent is not how much you walk. It's how strong your legs are and how well you can move your body under control. So here's your takeaway. After 60, your body doesn't just need movement, it needs strength. And the good news is, You don't need anything complicated to build it, because there is one simple movement that trains exactly what your body needs most. And almost no one is doing it. The one exercise I want you to focus on is something you already do every single day. But you probably don't think of it as exercise. It's this simple movement: sitting down and standing back up. That's it. This is often called a chair squat. And for people over 60, it may be one of the most important movements you can practice. Now pause for a second. Think about how many times a day you sit and stand. From your bed, from a chair, from the couch. This movement is your independence. If it becomes weak, everything becomes harder. But when it becomes strong, everything becomes easier. Here's why this works so well. Every time you stand up, you are lifting most of your body weight against gravity. That activates your thighs, your hips, your core, even your lower back. These are the exact muscles you need to walk safely, climb stairs, and prevent falls. Walking doesn't challenge these muscles the same way, but this movement does, and it does it safely. I remember a man in his late 70s, very independent, but he started avoiding low chairs, not because he was tired, but because he wasn't confident he could stand up easily. That small change started limiting where he sat, where he went, even how long he stayed out. That's how independence slowly shrinks. Not all at once, but in small, quiet steps. Here's your takeaway. The ability to stand up easily is one of the strongest signs of real strength after 60. And the good news is, you can improve it. Now let's make sure you do this safely. Now here's the part that surprised me most over the years. The people who practice this one movement consistently often improved faster than those doing long walks every day. Let's keep this simple. You don't need perfect form. You don't need to rush. You just need control. Sit on a sturdy chair, feet flat on the floor, about shoulder width apart. Keep your chest up. Look forward. Now gently lean forward slightly and push through your heels to stand. Slowly, no rushing. At the top, stand tall. Then lower yourself back down with control until you lightly touch the chair again. That's one repetition. If needed, you can use your hands at first. That's completely okay. Over time, you'll rely on them less, and that's progress. Here's something important. When you move slowly like this, your muscles do the work, not your joints. That's why this movement is often used in physical therapy settings, because it builds strength without harsh impact. Let me share a quick moment. I remember someone in her mid-70s who was nervous to try this. Her knees felt stiff. She hadn't exercised in years. So we started with just 3 slow repetitions. That's it. 3. A week later, she told me she felt more stable walking to her kitchen. Not stronger overnight, but steadier. And that's how real progress begins. Small, but meaningful. Here's your takeaway. You don't need intensity, you need consistency. And this movement meets you exactly where you are. Now let's talk about something even more important, because strength is not just physical. There's something I've seen again and again that most people don't talk about. Fear. The quiet fear of falling. You may not say it out loud, but you feel it. You move a little slower. You hold on to things. You avoid certain situations. And here's what happens. When fear increases, movement decreases. When movement decreases, weakness increases. And when weakness increases, the risk of falling actually goes up. It becomes a cycle. But this simple movement breaks that cycle, because every time you stand up and sit down with control, you are training your balance, your coordination, your confidence. You're teaching your body how to recover, how to trust itself again. I remember one gentleman in his early 80s who told me, "I stopped going out as much. I just don't feel steady." That had nothing to do with his desire. It was about confidence. A few weeks of practicing this simple movement, and something changed. He didn't suddenly become stronger overnight, but he felt safer. And feeling safe changes how you live. Here's your takeaway. Strength builds confidence, and confidence keeps you moving. And staying active is what protects your independence long term. Now we're about to get into something even more powerful. Because doing this movement is one thing, but doing it the right way, consistently, that's where real change happens. Let's go deeper into that. Now here's where most people go wrong. They try something like this for a few days, maybe a week, and then they stop. Not because it didn't work, but because they expected something dramatic immediately. Real strength doesn't work that way. But when it shows up, it changes everything. So instead of doing more, the key is doing it better. There's one small adjustment that can make this movement far more effective. And almost no one talks about it. It's this: slow down when you sit down. Most people focus on standing up, but the real strength is built on the way down. As you lower yourself into the chair, take about 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, controlled, steady, no dropping. This part activates your muscles even more than standing up. It strengthens your legs, improves joint stability, and builds better balance. If standing up is effort, sitting down slowly is control. And control is what prevents falls. When you move slowly like this, you're not just exercising your muscles. You're training your nervous system. You're teaching your body how to stay stable, how to adjust, how to react. This is what helps you catch yourself before a fall happens. Because most falls don't happen from weakness alone. They happen from a moment of lost control. And this simple habit trains your body to stay in control. If you practice this regularly, something subtle starts to change. At first, you may just notice it feels a little easier to stand up. Then, you feel more stable when walking. Then, you stop thinking twice before sitting down somewhere. And eventually, you move with more confidence without even realizing it. That's when you know it's working. Not because it feels intense, but because life feels easier. There's another benefit that doesn't get enough attention. Your brain. Movements like this, especially when done slowly and with control, actually stimulate your brain. They improve coordination, focus, and awareness. It's like a signal between your body and brain gets stronger. And that matters more as we age. Because staying sharp isn't just about puzzles or reading. It's also about how well your body and brain work together. Now, don't overthink this. You don't need a complicated routine. You don't need equipment. You don't need to do dozens of repetitions. Start simple. 5 slow repetitions, once or twice a day. That's enough to begin. If that feels easy, you can slowly increase over time. But the goal is not exhaustion. The goal is consistency. At some point, this stops being exercise. It becomes part of who you are. Here's where most people fail. They try this for a few days, don't feel a big change, and stop. But strength doesn't show up instantly. It builds quietly, then suddenly life feels easier. So the goal isn't doing more, it's doing it right. The simple upgrade. One small change makes this far more powerful. Slow down when you sit down. Take 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. No dropping, just control. That's where real strength is built. Why this works? This isn't just muscles. It trains your body to stay steady, to adjust, to catch itself. Because falls don't happen just from weakness, they happen from loss of control, and this fixes that. What you'll notice: at first, it feels small. Then suddenly, standing feels easier. Walking feels steadier. You stop hesitating. That's when you know it's working. Keep it simple. Start with 5 slow reps, once or twice a day. That's it. No complexity, just consistency. The real shift. This isn't exercise anymore. Here's where most people fail. They try this for a few days, don't feel a big change, and stop. But strength doesn't show up instantly. It builds quietly. Then suddenly, life feels easier. So the goal isn't doing more, it's doing it right. One small change makes this far more powerful. Slow down when you sit down. Take 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. No dropping, just control. That's where real strength is built. Why this works? This isn't just muscles. It trains your body to stay steady, to adjust, to catch itself. Because falls don't happen just from weakness. They happen from loss of control. And this fixes that. At first, it feels small. Then suddenly, standing feels easier. Walking feels steadier. You stop hesitating. That's when you know it's working. Start with 5 slow reps, once or twice a day. That's it. No complexity, just consistency. The real shift. This isn't exercise anymore. It's how you stay independent.